Hey guys, welcome to our first official full week of remote learning. We are going to continue on our career web quest. I hope that you guys found some interesting careers that you are looking forward to potentially learning more about. We are moving on to step 3, which is research. So last week you put 2 that you might be interested in, and you had your other classmates comment on what they thought would be good for you. So now you're going to take those 2 and narrow them down to 1 and do some research on them. So let's talk about our objectives for today. The first objective that we have is that you're going to learn more about the career you're interested in. You know, obviously, as you do research, you will find out more about it, and we'll talk about those specific things that you're going to use. You need to use at least 4 reputable sources. The reason we use multiple is because different websites are going to showcase different information, and it'll be easier to access it in different ways. So it's good to look through that. We're going to understand the importance of using reputable sources. It is really important to think about what sources we're using. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to understand the importance of citing our work. You're going to analyze your results and how they impact your future, and you're going to document your information using Microsoft Word. Now you're probably thinking, whoa, Mrs. L, this sounds like a ton of work. I've got all these other classes I'm dealing with. Please, what are you doing to me, lady? And if you're thinking that, take a breath, relax. I'm actually going to give you 3 days to do this. Jeez, I'm kind. So you're going to start today, and it will be due by Wednesday. Wednesday is when you will post this, and it will be a minor assessment when you'll post all this information. So let's go through the process of research and what I'm looking for. You're going to use at least 2 of the linked sites that are going to be on the portal. They'll be under our topic and also linked to the assignment, so you have multiple places to find them. These are 3 that I've given you the options for. You only have to pick 2 of them, so look at all 3 and see which one works best for you, or which 2. Then you're going to pick 2 of your own. When you're doing this, you are going to be trying to find a source that has merit, that is something valid and credible. So how do we know if the source is credible? Hopefully you have learned this in your English classes as you've been in those. I'm sure Miss Goins or Miss Cruz, whoever teaches you, has talked to you a lot about this. But in case you were sleeping that day or homesick or somewhere else, we'll go over those really quick. The first thing you want to do is look at the date of the website. If the website was last updated in 2012, it's probably outdated, and that probably means it's not a very good source. So look for a date on the website. Also look at the dates they're citing. If they're giving you evidence, let's say you're looking at the average pay. If the average pay is from 2015, that's not a good sign. Look for something that is more up to date. Obviously, they're not going to have stats for 2020 because 2020 has not canceled yet. There go the girls. So crazy life. At least they're dressed. That's good news. You also want to look for evidence. Where did they get their evidence? Are they citing stuff? Did they get it from good stuff? You want to look for established institutions. So obviously, an institution like a university like the University of Florida or MIT, places like that are going to have credible peer-reviewed information. You also want to look for sites with expertise. So if I am doing a project on farming, the U.S. Department of Agriculture would probably be a site that has an expertise in that area. If I'm looking for something to do with being a pilot, I'm going to look for something that has expertise with that. Be aware of bias. If the website is anti-something, they're probably going to show you all the facts that support that. So make sure you're watching out for bias. Avoid anonymous authors. If there's no author anywhere, or if it says it's from anonymous, you probably should not trust it, because that means someone does not want to be held credible for their information. Check the links. If you click the website and the link doesn't go anywhere, or it goes to a false page, then that means that the website is not kept up with, so it's probably not very credible. And then consider the look of the site. If it looks professional, that probably is because somebody put time and effort into making it look that way. If there's a bunch of typos or grammatical errors, that's probably something you can check. Over here, we have the common like endings of websites. So .com means it's a commercial site. So what that means is that it is typically a monetary based site, and it could have a slant or show favoritism towards something. They may tell half truths to make things look better for them. So Coca-Cola.com, I like Coke better than Pepsi. They might publish research showing that more people like Coke than Pepsi, but they may have gone and distributed Coke to those people that took that survey. They don't really do that, but back in the day, there was actually a Camel cigarette ad that said 65% or more, the cigarettes more physicians use than anything else. This was obviously a long time ago in the 50s, and it's because they passed out the packs and they were like, hey, what kind of cigarettes do you smoke? And they were like, oh, well, the ones you just gave us. Obviously no one should be smoking cigarettes, but I'm just showing you. Commercial sites usually have an agenda, so be careful with those. .edu means it is educational, so obviously you should be able to trust those. Do be careful though, because if a student has a personal site on that, it could not be all factual. .gov is from the government. That is considered to be credible. .org is typically a nonprofit. In the past, it was always considered to be credible. However, sometimes they can have a slant towards evidence that is things they like. So something like Planned Parenthood is going to have evidence supporting their beliefs, and it may not be credible in that sense. .mil is from the military. .net typically composes a bunch of other stuff that doesn't really fall into the other areas. So think about those suffixes at the end. Here's a little comic. Will you help me with my paper? What's the problem? My teacher doesn't like the citations. Google, Google, Google. Google isn't a source. It's like a librarian. We point you at sources, but we don't answer your questions. You sure don't. Google will answer your questions, but that is not considered a reputable source. So don't try Google. Alrighty. So step 3 is citations. Why do we cite? I decided to put another comic. Apparently I like comics today. A book? Who are you and what have you done with Merv? It's a source for the paper I'm writing. Looks like you copied several pages verbatim. It's plagiarism unless you put it in your own words. I did. By coincidence, they are exactly the same. Or cite the source. A good magician never reveals his secrets. Obviously, we need to cite because it's plagiarism, and you can get into a lot of trouble for plagiarism. In high school, typically, if you get in trouble for plagiarism, you have to rewrite the paper, you lose credit. In college, you can be kicked straight out of the university or the class at the lowest level without a refund, or the university. So those are big things. Also, as Christians, we are called to come above the things. So when we claim something is ours that is not, that is actually lying, and we're told not to do that. So you want to do it for reasons to protect yourself, but also to stand for Christ and to do that. All right, so what am I looking for in this research? Sadie, singing a little too loud. Remember, this is due Wednesday, and it is a minor assessment. So you're going to have a couple of sets of questions to answer on this research. Remember, you're going to get these answers from 4 different sources, and you are going to put those at the end. The research-based questions are, what is the job description? This needs to be in complete sentences. So tell me what the description is. What do they do in their job? Skills needed for the career. You can find all of this on the information. Degrees and or certifications needed. So if you're going to be a doctor, you need certain degrees in order to be able to become a doctor. If you are going to become a psychologist, you need certain certificates. So what are those things? 2 schools with appropriate programs, and then if secondary education is needed, include this too. So if you only need a bachelor's, you can put 2 schools that have a path to that. If you need a master's or a doctorate, something past that, put what schools you could go to for that as well. Average yearly earnings. When you are doing this, you are going to see that they have tons of different options. They're going to say, here's the 10%, the 20th percent, the 50th percent. I'm looking at the median rating, the 50th percentile. What do they do? You also want to document the past 5 years for the next step. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Projected growth of this career. So how is this career growing? You obviously want one that's considered to be growing and not declining. So look at that. And then 3 interesting facts you discovered while you're doing this research. You'll probably discover new things about these careers, so put those on there. And then you'll answer a few personal questions as well. Number 1, why did you choose this career? This doesn't need to be cited. This is your own personal information. 2, 3 reasons it would be good for you, either based on your test that you took or your personal opinion, why you think you would be an excellent nurse, doctor, farmer, lawyer, teacher, physician, I don't know. 3 reasons it would not be good for you based on either your test or opinion. And then last, how could you use this career to glorify God and further his kingdom? Remember, this is a lot of information, but you have 3 days to do it. So if you sit down and do 15 minutes per day, maybe 20, you should be able to get it done with no problem. Let me know if you have any questions, and I would love it if you'd send me a message with any prayer requests or just an update on your life and how everything is going. Miss you guys. Bye.